Hey YouTube, Rob back again, another video. Well yeah, end of the month time to do my sort of DVD Blue update for the month. I didn't get around to doing one last month, so I've got quite a huge stack here, sort of 2 months worth. This will be sort of a bought and watched style video again. Stuff I have bought recently and stuff I have sort of had for quite a while, but I sort of watched it again and decided to include it in the video so I can talk about it a little bit. I'm not too sure whether this might be a part, like I might have 2 parts maybe to it. I don't know. Depends how. Depends how much I talk, I suppose. Because I don't want to try and make the video too long. Anyway, so I'm going to start. I think I might just mention first though. I have sort of opened up a Letterboxd account, so I can sort of help to sort of track my movies, sort of see how many I sort of watch, over the year and stuff like that. So I'll leave a link to that below if anyone wants to sort of subscribe to me, whatever, follow me on through there and sort of see what movies I'm watching. You certainly can. So so I'll leave a link for that below. Anyway, I'm going to start. Okay, so first one here I've had in my collection for quite a while. That is the Star Wars. It says the complete saga, but obviously the new movies come out, which obviously isn't in here. But I did sort of watch this obviously first before I sort of watched the new one. I'm not necessarily sort of a huge sort of Star Wars fan. I do actually quite like the movies and do a bit of a marathon occasionally and watch them all. But I don't sort of watch them. I'm not sort of a huge Star Wars fan. I don't sort of get dressed up and what I mean. Don't do cosplay type stuff and just get obsessed over it. Anyway, I watched this, obviously to get ready for the new movie. I watched all 6 movies, and I haven't sort of seen the prequels for, quite a number of years, but I didn't think they're actually too bad. I mean, obviously, people sort of, go on about how terrible they are, but I don't think they were sort of too bad. I mean, they do obviously suffer from a few issues, obviously one being the terrible CGI, which looks pretty much awful, really bad, really awful. But I think I guess that's what CGI looked like back then, when those sort of movies come out. I think they've sort of come a long way since then. Other thing too, I think other problem is probably the choice of actors too, and some of those I think we probably could have got better actors to fulfill the roles. So we get some not particularly great performances, I don't think. But I mean, the actual storylines in the prequels, I think, are actually quite good. Very sort of in depth. All to do with sort of the Jedi Council, and there's definitely some good sort of passes, I think. So I don't think they were sort of too bad movies. So I don't think they were sort of too bad. Not as bad as some people claim them to be. Obviously, the original trilogy is obviously a lot better. But yeah, I still did quite like the prequels though. I thought they weren't too bad. Anyway, so that's Star Wars. And I did sort of do a quick review of the new movie in another video, which I might leave a link below if anyone wants to watch that. Okay, anyway, moving on. So another box set which I've had in my collection for a little while. I haven't sort of got around to watching. That is the Chucky complete collection. I've seen the first 3 movies a couple of times, but it's been since a few years since I've seen them. And I think I have seen bits of I think the Bride Chucky, I think too. I think it was on TV one night, and I saw a few scenes of it. I haven't sort of seen the last 3 and sort of in their entirety. So I did just do a bit of a marathon the other day and sort of watched all 6 movies. I think definitely there's probably the first 3. I think probably the best ones. I think. I didn't necessarily think probably. Was it Cedar Chucky? I think that's probably the worst one out of the 6. I think. I think they definitely do sort of start to get a little bit silly. I think both the Cedar Chucky and Bride Chucky. I think they're sort of a bit a bit different. I think. I'm not sure whether some people will probably really hate them. I think. But I don't think they were too bad. Sort of perhaps a different direction, I suppose. Even though they were a little bit silly. And I did sort of quite like the last one, The Curse of Chucky, which I think came out 2 years ago or something like that. which I thought was actually, yeah, pretty decent, I thought. bit of a sort of a different direction, I suppose, compared to the other movies. The only criticism I probably had was the end of the movie, we sort of find out exactly why sort of Chucky's come back. It didn't really sort of work for me. It didn't sort of make complete sense. It just seemed a bit of a shoehorned type storyline for a reason to get Chucky to come back. But I did sort of enjoy, all 6 movies all up there. I thought they were, really sort of fun watches, and Chucky's a bit of a badass. I think he's pretty cool. So that's that. Another trilogy. It's the Robocop Trilogy. I had this for, I'm not quite whether I showed this or not, actually, in one of my updates or not. But I haven't sort of seen these 3 movies for, quite a number of years. But yeah, really, actually, quite good movies, I think. Definitely great sort of 80s sort of violent sort of sci-fi, which is, I think sort of appeals to a lot of people. Well, these are definitely very good. Definitely had some great themes and great ideas, I think. Yeah, anyway, that's Robocop. Onto a similar sort of film, I think, has sort of similar sort of ideas in it. That's Chappie, which I think it was a last year film. It came out last year. A film that gets a lot of hate, I think. I did sort of watch it at the cinema and sort of walked out and wasn't really quite sure what to make of it. I am a fan of sort of robots. I'm a bit of a big kid when it sort of comes to those sort of things. I do like sort of giant robots. But I think, the main sort of criticism people had was obviously these sort of South African rappers that they've sort of brought in to be actors to be part of the film, and that I think that really a lot of people really didn't like those sort of characters because they were just really sort of were just really annoying sort of characters, and everyone sort of hated them. And yeah, I did sort of watch it. I sort of rewatched it again to sort of get a bit of clear my thoughts on it a little bit. And I don't think it's not a bad film. It does have some good ideas to it, and I do sort of quite like Chappie, and I do sort of like the storyline to a certain point. But definitely those rappers there, they just really, I think, ruined the film. I think they just are really obnoxious and annoying, and I'm not really quite sure what the point of them sort of being there is exactly. I did sort of start to perhaps do like a written review of this, and I didn't sort of finishing it because I couldn't really get my thoughts straight on it. So yeah, I won't talk about it too much. I'm pretty sure there's a reason why we've got these annoying rappers in the movie, but I'm still trying to work that one out. Anyway, so that's Chappie. I think the film from last year, the Duff, which obviously stands for Designated Ugly Fat Friend. Very sort of Mean Girls, sort of Easy A, type movie. I do sort of quite like those 2 movies. I think they're actually quite fun. This one I didn't think was actually that great. It was alright, I think. But yeah, it's probably a film I probably wouldn't ever watch again. I don't think. It was probably only a one-time watch for me. So that's the Duff. I want to try and get through these. I don't want to sort of spend too much time. I picked up The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1, obviously because the new movie came out the other day, so I wanted to sort of do a bit of a marathon. I do actually quite like the Hunger Games series, actually. I think they're actually, quite sort of fun movies. Nothing amazing, I suppose. I wouldn't say they're necessarily Oscar-worthy or whatever. But they are, yes, as I sort of said, fun movies, and I do like Jennifer Lawrence, and I don't know, they're good movies, I think. Good sort of fun movies to watch, I think. This one here is definitely probably the weakest out of the lot. Definitely sort of a filler film, I think, for sort of part 2. I think if you sort of watch perhaps this one here and then part 2, sort of, in the one sitting, it'd probably be a bit more, a better sort of story, I suppose, if you put them both together. But sort of watching it by itself, it's not really all that great, because it's definitely just filler, I think. So that's the Hunger Games. On to Birdman, which came in a slipcase. As you can sort of read, the best film of last year, supposedly. A lot of people sort of raving on about it, so I thought I'd better give it a watch. And I think it's just definitely a film I thought I probably need to watch sort of a few times. Definitely a film that, as a lot of people would probably agree, it's definitely a bit of a strange watch, and I wasn't really quite sure, what was going on. So it's, I don't know, I have to say I probably didn't really like it that much. But I mean, is that because I didn't sort of understand what was happening? I suppose that's, I guess that's the argument, I suppose. I can't say it's a bad film because I didn't necessarily understand what was happening in it, I suppose. So it's probably a film I probably would, I'll have to watch it again perhaps a few times to get a bit more of an idea before I can sort of have my official stance on the movie, I suppose. It's definitely, very well shot, and the whole sort of one take, type idea was quite interesting, and good performances, and entertaining watch, I suppose, even though I wasn't really quite sure, what it all meant. So that's Birdman. We've got John Wick with Keanu Reeves. A film I had sort of heard, quite good things about. Nice sort of revenge, ultra-violent, type movie. I did sort of quite like it. I thought it was, a real sort of fun watch. That's John Wick. Another film from last year, that is Foxcatcher. A film which I think sort of gets, I think it just sort of get mixed reviews. I think the major complaint was, I think it's a really boring movie. I mean, it really is. It's a film where, they don't sort of say anything. Someone will say something, and there's a big long pause and a big silence, and then someone else will say something else, and it's just really sort of dragged out, and people just sort of looking at each other, and sort of thing, and there's no sort of communication between the actors. It's obviously based on a true story, and so I think there's a really good story in there, but I just not quite sure why they sort of chose to make it a rather sort of, I don't know, sort of dragged out sort of movie. They made it a bit more interesting. I think it a bit more dynamic, a bit more words in it, more people talking. It might have been a bit better received, I think. But definitely, great performances. And as I saw, a really great story. I think that the execution I didn't think was all that great. That's Foxcatcher. And I did also pick up Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal, but I can't find that. I don't know where it's got to. It must be behind the couch or something. But I did actually quite like that film quite a lot, actually. Definitely would perhaps be in my top 10, I think. I think a really great performance by Jake Gyllenhaal. And I'm surprised he didn't get nominated for Best Actor, which I think other people have sort of mentioned, because I thought he put in a really great performance, and a really good movie. I thought really sort of dark and quite an interesting watch, I thought. So that's Nightcrawler. I can't really show up anyway. I've got it here somewhere in my vast movie collection. Okay, moving on, we've got a sort of one called Nurse 3D, which I think is a bit of a sort of cheesy sort of, I don't know, B-grade top movie, I suppose, in some ways. Just about sort of a killer nurse sort of thing that goes around, kills her patients, and she develops a bit of a crush on the new nurse, and tries to get a bit of a lesbian relationship happening, but that doesn't really work out. But yeah, this was a good sort of fun watch. Nice deaths in it, and stuff like that. That's Nurse. One thing I've had in my collection for a little while. It's the Orland with Scott Johansson and Ewan McGregor. Directed by Michael Bay. Nice sort of. This is sort of sci-fi flick. Nothing necessarily, I suppose, highly original, I suppose. But I think it's quite a sort of fun movie, and I'm a fan of Scarlett Johansson, of course. I think towards the end it does get a little bit silly. I think sort of gets a bit far-fetched. But definitely, I've sort of seen this movie a few times, and I think it's not a bad watch. Onto a Chicago, which is obviously a musical, I think, from a few years ago, and I think it won Best Picture. I've sort of been watching a few musicals actually recently, more sort of the older ones, compared to this one. This one I didn't think was all that good, to be honest. I think the major problem that it's, I mean, you've obviously got some sort of famous actors here, Ray Zellweger, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and Richard Gere, as you can see on the front there. And they're not professional singers and they're not professional dancers, so I think it's not quite as if they got perhaps, you know, real dancers and real singers to come in and sing it, it probably would have been a bit better film, I think. But I guess in some ways it's, you know, it's nice to sort of see these famous people, I suppose, singing and dancing, I suppose. There's a couple of good scenes in it which I thought were, you know, quite well shot, and visuals were, you know, quite good in those scenes. But overall, yeah, I didn't think it was really all that great, to be honest. I'm quite surprised it sort of won Best Picture, to be honest. Anyway, so that's Chicago. On to Paintin, which I think, yeah, it was a film of last year. I'm pretty sure I used to sort of watch the animated TV show when I was a kid, and I'm not sure whether I don't think I was necessarily a big fan, though, I don't think. But I had sort of heard, you know, quite good things about this one, so I decided to give it a bit of a watch. And yeah, it was all right. Again, a couple of nice scenes there, but I think overall it was rather average, I thought, really. Anyway, I don't know. Wouldn't like to know perhaps if other people sort of seen this film, what they sort of thought of it. Because I had heard a lot of people said it was actually really quite good, but I actually thought it was actually rather average, to be honest. Anyway, so if you've sort of seen this one, definitely tell me your thoughts on it. So that's Paintin. And then finally, I might just do perhaps a part one, and I'll come back and do part two later or something like that. Last one here got another film from last year. That's Inherent Vice. Another film I didn't think was really all that good. I have sort of seen it in a few people's top 10 lists, though, you know, for the last year, and it's, I don't know, I just sort of found it a little bit boring to sort of start off with. I think I got sort of like, you know, 20 minutes into it, and I just sort of lost interest in it, so I didn't sort of pay much attention sort of to the other 2 hours of it. It was like a really long, 2.5 hour long movie. So it's yeah, I don't know, it just didn't grab me from the start of it, so I just had a real hard time trying to continue to watch it, to be honest. Yeah, it did sort of remind me a lot of The Big Lebowski, which I think it sort of the main character is very sort of similar to the dude, and some of the storylines very similar to that as well. I have sort of heard other people make that comment as well, which obviously it must be some similarities there, because I didn't sort of read any reviews on it. I didn't read anything out about the film, and I definitely had this sort of Big Lebowski sort of idea in my head that is very similar to that. And then I started reading reviews about it, and a lot of people sort of saying that it's very sort of similar to that. I might perhaps give it another watch one day, but yeah, I just sort of found it a bit dull, and sort of set in the 1970s, but it was definitely, I think, sort of trying too hard to be, you know, 1970s hip and cool, you know. It just didn't quite work for me. So that's The Invited. Anyway, so that's sort of the first part. I might perhaps sort of shoot the other part another day and upload that. Yeah, if you see any of these films, certainly leave me a comment and, you know, tell me your thoughts on them. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Don't forget to follow me on Letterboxd if you want to. I'll leave a link to my Facebook page and my Twitter page, even though I don't sort of use Twitter that much, but I'll leave that there anyway if you want to follow me. And yeah,